Hello, this is the Hippie Prepper. Today I really wanted to go over some things that I think as we go into the fall and some very, very big changes and some really major things to prep for, sometimes I get asked, what's the hardest part of prepping? What's the hardest part of the crap has hit the fan and everything's kind of going crazy? And of course, most people kind of jump to, oh, there's not going to be any electricity, or I won't be able to go to the store. And all of those things are really, for sure, something that will be difficult. The largest part of this that really makes this so difficult is that it is a lifestyle change. In the United States in particular, but in other countries as well, we are very, very accustomed to an easy life. Easy in terms of survival, not necessarily easy in terms of, stress or mental pressure or, day-to-day needs and activities, but ease in terms of survival. We don't need to walk several miles to get water each day. We're not looking at our crops get hit by a tornado and thinking, I'm not going to be able to eat this winter. So we have a lot of ease in terms of survival, and because of that, we kind of don't really think of it. We can be in survival mode where we're just kind of like flying by the seat of our pants, and I think a lot of us have been in survival mode for a while, but we're really not confronted with survival as a people. So when we're talking about the crap has hit the fan. This is a totally different world. The hardest thing for us is a lifestyle change, is learning how to do our daily activities over again. We no longer have a washing machine that will wash our clothes. So how do we wash our clothes? We no longer have an oven that we can turn on or a place to get food from if we choose to take, ordering food, groceries or whatever. We don't have that anymore. How do we obtain these things? All of these things are things that our ancestors have done and people in other countries still do on a regular basis. And they can become normal life, but that transition is very, very difficult. So let's move into why it's hard. Learning new things is difficult. It just is. Learning new things is hard. Think about the last job that you had, where you had to go through some type of training. It can be retail or anything like that, but you had to learn a new system or you had to go over something new. That's kind of the hardest part. After you get your job, you have additional stresses and you have other things, but the most difficult part of a job is learning how to do your job. School, the most difficult part is learning a new skill. So when we're talking about this major shift, we're talking about a very, very big shift from the way things used to be to the way they are now. It's oftentimes because we have to learn new things, and that's very time consuming and it's very energy intensive. This is a lot of times what causes our burnout, because you can only exert so much energy before you're done. Learning new things takes a lot of energy. Often, or one of the biggest things with the beginning of the pandemic and lockdown, why it was so difficult, is we had to relearn so many different things. We had to relearn how to go to school. We had to relearn how to grocery shop. We had to relearn how to do normal life with our children. Maybe they went to school before and now they're not, or maybe they went to an activity or daycare and now they're not. Relearning all of our normal things has been very, very taxing. So let's imagine we go one step further. Okay, now we have some issues with electricity. We have some issues with some food scarcity. We have some problems with maybe water purification. We are seeing all of these issues happening right now, definitely in other countries, but even localized areas in our country. Civil unrest we're seeing. Now, these things, let's say, are happening right at your front door. Your power goes out. There's a hurricane right now hitting the east coast of the United States, so your power goes out from that. And let's say the parts to fix that are from China, and they aren't going to get here very quickly. So you're going to be out of power for 3 or 4 weeks. Now you have to relearn how to do laundry. You have to relearn how to cook. You have to relearn all of these things with other avenues, and it's very, very complex. So what can we do about it? Well, the biggest thing that you can do right now is change your lifestyle now. Learn now. Make those changes now. If you know that you can grow wheat and oats and some vegetables and maybe raise a few chickens, eat that right now. It'll make that transition a lot less difficult. Something else that you can do is hang dry your clothes right now, or get a very small washer that runs off of solar and start using that now. Learn these skills now where you still have the safety net. A perfect example in my own life of this, we are actually moving off grid in 2 weeks. Very excited. We've lived off grid before, and then we came back on the grid for a little bit, and then now we're moving back off, and I'm very excited about this. About a week ago, I reached my breaking point. It happens. I got burned out. I had a lot of stuff to learn, lots of pressures, lots of stress, big, huge, long to-do list, and I burned out. And so what we were able to do is we went and stayed the night in a hotel. Now, had we waited until after, crap really hits the fan and that's not available anymore to learn these skills or to move off grid or to take these steps, that wouldn't have been an option, and my burnout wouldn't have had an end. It would have just kind of cultivated itself probably into a pretty big mess. So being able to learn these skills now when we can go run through a drive-through, not that I recommend that, but we can do that, or we can go eat out if we needed to, or where we can escape for a little bit if we wanted to. Having those things and doing that transition now when we have an abundance of convenience around us is going to be a lot easier for you long term than it would be if you had to jump into it out of necessity. So what are some things that you can do today? There's 3 things you can do today to start learning this. The first thing is stop using your dryer, your clothes dryer. We did this a pretty decent time ago, I think maybe about a year ago. And it was a huge, huge, huge change for me because I couldn't just throw my clothes in the wash when I needed them that moment and then pull them out. I couldn't do that. I had to spend time to wash it and hang dry it. The second thing is change your diet. Whatever you know you can have access to. If the big box stores are closed, I'm talking Walmart, Kroger's, Aldi's, Winco, whatever's in your area. Whatever that is, if you can find an alternative source to that food, start cooking with that food now so that you know how to do it. So the first one was dryer, figure out your laundry. The second one was food, figure out your food. And the third one is your outlet. Figure out what you can do. If you're a sports person and watching sports is your outlet, find something else now. If you are a person who loves to go to the library, get books now. Do those things now so that when you get to that point where you may not be able to have access to those things anymore, you still have a subset right there in front of you. Something my husband loves to do, he's a sports guy. He loves to watch old games, like probably from like 1990, but he loves to watch that. So find those things. First thing, stop using your dryer and start hang drying your clothes. Second thing, start cooking with whatever materials you could have if you didn't have access to big box stores. And the third thing is find your outlet, your new outlet that you would use if you didn't have access to what you do now, and then start utilizing those and building up some rapport. I hope it's helpful, and I hope that throughout the next couple of months you can prepare really well and you have a good foundation so that when the storm comes your way you can say, thank you, storm, but I've got myself covered. Have a great day, guys.